Booktube, it's Kim at middle of the book march. This is my Bookish week for Saturday, May 21st. Look how fast I recited that date. So, how's everybody doing? I am filming this on Friday, the 20th. On Saturday, the 21st in New Hampshire, in my part of New Hampshire, it's supposed to be like mid-90s. And Sunday as well. I think it's going to be around the same temperature both days. I have a couple of things to do tomorrow, unfortunately, outside of the house. Because in New Hampshire, in the summer, and it's not even summer, but when it gets that hot in New Hampshire, it's such a gross, humid, thick, hot. It's not a good idea to go outside unless you are going to be sitting by the water. So the beaches are crowded as all get out. People who have pools are sitting by the pool. And I have one of my best friends has a pool, just a beautiful yard, and she has a pool, but it's May 21st. Who's got their pool open? Well, maybe she does. I'll have to find out. So, what did I do? What did I read last week? I completed 4 books, and by the time you're watching this on Saturday, I will have completed a 5th. But the 4 books that I completed are graphic novels. And it took me, I'm super late to the party, but there's some pretty good reasons. I am not a young adult, so nor am I a middle schooler or a high schooler. And so my relationship with graphic novels is a little tenuous, a little, just lack of interest maybe. Graphic novels came out way after my time. So I haven't really gotten into them until I started Booktube. And I've just read a few. I'm not, I don't read a lot of them. But finally, Netflix got me to read the series so far. And of course I'm talking about Heartstopper. This is volume 1. And it's made into a Netflix series. Season 1 is complete. So I read volume 1 last Saturday. I read volume 2 last Sunday. I read volume 3 last Sunday night. And I read volume 4 probably Monday, and I finished it on Tuesday. I blew through them. So this is the series, Heartstopper. I think everybody watching Booktube has seen reviews of this series, of these graphic novels. It's all black and white. Very, very little dialogue, very little text. It's very fast to read. One of these books, I was pretty much reading it within 30 to 45 minutes, cover to cover. So I love the back of this one too. So that's why I was able to read all 4 of these. And not only was I able to, I was desperate to read all 4 of them. I had volume 1 and I blew through it. Cried. And then I demanded to go to Barnes & Noble to pick up the rest of the volumes 2 through 4. Heartstopper is about a love story between Charlie and Nick, who are high school students. It's set in the UK, and they are high school students from extremely different demographics and different crowds at school. Charlie is an openly gay boy who was ostracized his previous year. He was bullied. He's artsy and musical. And Nick is like captain of the rugby team. He's kind of big and strong and athletic. And who would think that the two of them would become friends? But this is a love story of who would have thought that one of these boys would fall in love at the same time of discovering his own sexuality. I don't even have the right words to explain how emotional these books made me, because to have this type of exposure for gay kids, gay teenagers, and the exposure, the normalcy, the issues that an openly gay teenage boy has to deal with in high school, the friend groups, the process of having a crush, the process of questioning your entire existence, your identity, how friends treat each other, how friends treat the protagonist of the story. It's all so heartwarming and realistic, and it totally hit me in the gut, and I could not stop myself from crying, because this is the type of book and the type of series that will save lives. And had this type of a book been around back in my day when I was a teenager, back in the 80s through the 21st century, children will probably have not taken their own lives over their sexuality and over their identities and over the secrets they had to keep. This is the type of book and the type of series that will save lives. And it's so common, and I'm hoping it's so well known how many LGBTQ teens take their lives every year because of not only the lack of support from families, but the outright hostility and violence of people that are supposed to love them. The complete lack of societal support. A child can read the news or watch the news and see what their own country and their own government is trying to do against them. And with all of that taken into consideration, it's still so much better than trying to bury these secrets and bury your true self in order to get along in this type of a society. So books like these that openly talk about queer kids and trans kids and falling in love in school and having crushes and dealing with bullying and dealing with mental health issues, it's those things are all normal parts of being a teenager, with those parts of it that are dialed up to an extreme. But for kids to be able to read this type of a book and this type of a series and see themselves with possible future opportunities to not have to keep everything secret, to not have to hurt themselves, to feel like they have options, and to feel like they have resources. I can't say enough as a middle-aged, straight, cis white woman how much this could mean to children around the world, not just in the UK, not just in the US. Unfortunately, this is the type of book and this is the type of series that is banned in schools. And hopefully, I live in the Northeast, and hopefully that I know there are schools that has this and this series in their school libraries. And this is actually published. I don't know if the first one is, but this is published by, Volume 1 does not have the same publisher on it. I don't know if you can see that. That's Scholastic. And in the United States, and I wish I knew if this was the case, but this is published by Graphics, an imprint of Scholastic. Scholastic publishes books for kids, and they have them available to kids. If you went to an American school, you know that we have book order forms that appear, and we have book fairs in schools, and Scholastic is the main publisher that brings books to school for kids to buy and for parents to order. And I feel so good that the majority of this series is published and distributed by Scholastic. So hopefully it has a better chance of getting out into schools that are not intent on banning it or removing access to these books to kids that truly need them. It is so charming and so heartwarming, and every single volume I gave 5 stars to. I couldn't get over how much I love this series. And of course, I binged watched the entire Netflix season 1 and cried harder than I did with the books. It's a beautiful series. It's a beautiful story. It deals with some pretty hard stuff. and it deals with mental illness and bullying, severe bullying in school. It deals with loneliness and coming out not just as gay, but as trans and all kinds of things. It looks at a relationship between a cis teenager and a trans teenager, and clearly a popular kid on the rugby team and a geeky, arty, bullied kid who was ostracized after his accidental coming out. It talks about that as well. So I can't recommend this series enough. And if you are like me, if you are a middle-aged cis white woman who is thinking to yourself, why should I bother? This isn't for me. This is for teenagers. This is for kids. This is, a queer graphic novel series. Why should I even bother to pick it up? Because if you have any spark of interest in picking up volume 1, it will break your heart wide open, and it will hopefully show you why this needs to be available to children around the world. This series, any series like it, anything that keeps kids alive. And it's just charming and heartwarming and so well done and fun and funny, all of it. Just run out and buy it. Run out and get it. As far as I know, Volume 5 is the last one, and Volume 5 is supposed to be coming out in February next year and will be the final volume. I don't know if I already said that. So please go out and buy Heartstopper, Volume 1. And I challenge you, if you read Volume 1, I challenge you not to continue with the entire series. And read the books before you watch the Netflix series. That's what I finished last week. So I'm going to show you what I'm currently reading. Actress by Anne Enright. By the time you watch this video, I think I'll be done with this. I'm going to be finishing this Friday night, I think. And this is a buddy read with Britta, and we're going to be checking in on Saturday. So, yeah, I'm not going to review it yet, even if I finish it on Friday, today. So I will tell you my thoughts on that in next week's Bookish Week. I am also currently reading, not actively currently reading this right now, but this is on the go. I am reading, finally picked up the unabridged journals of Sylvia Plath on my Kindle. Now I have the hard copy and super small font, and I didn't notice that until I started reading it on my Kindle. But the Kindle is a great way to read it because it's her journals, and so it's reading journal entries. I am highlighting so much out of this text because her journals are poetry. And I can't believe that she would have written these journals without the thought that somebody down the road was going to read them in a literary context. So I'm only like 3% into her journals, and this is a pretty chunky volume, but yeah, so I just started that. And once I finish Actress, I'm going to get back to the Books of Jacob. I am about 10% into this book. I'm on page... oh gosh, now the page numbers go backwards. I think I'm almost at 100 pages, and look at, not very far in. But I'm loving this book so far, and I'm anxious to get back to it. So that's, and I went back to Daniel Deronda on audiobook. I got my Juliet Stevenson version from Hoopla, from my library system. And so I am back to listening to that on audio, and I have that for 21 days. So hopefully that'll be enough to listen to this 34 so-and-so hour audiobook, but I just absolutely love it. And one more thing to show you, I won a Goodreads giveaway. Woman of Light by Callie Fajardo-Anstine. I hope I have the pronunciation right. This is actually an ARC, but she is the author of Sabrina and Corina. And this book comes out June of 2022, so it should be coming out anytime. And this one, I was so happy that I won a copy of this because it looks really good. Let's see. Luz Little Light Lopez, a tea leaf reader and laundress, is left to fend for herself after her older brother Diego, a snake charmer and factory worker, is run out of town by a violent white mob. How familiar does that sound? As Luz navigates 1930s Denver, she begins to have visions that transport her to her indigenous homeland in the nearby Lost Territory. Luz recollects her ancestors' origins, how her family flourished, and how they were threatened. She bears witness to the sinister forces that have devastated her people and their homelands for generations. In the end, it is up to her to save her family's stories from disappearing into oblivion. I'm really looking forward to that, and I was really grateful that I won that in a Goodreads giveaway. It pays to enter those, people. So that's it for me for my Bookish week. Yeah, that's all the Bookish stuff I did. It's going to be a super low-key weekend. I'm going to see my older daughter tomorrow and rub the pregnant belly. Yay, looking forward to that. Hopefully I can con her into going shopping with me so I can buy baby stuff for her, and that's going to be super fun. That's it for me. Hope you like the books that I showed you. If you have a chance and you have that spark of interest, go and buy and read Heartstopper, and then buy the rest of them. Buy all the 4 volumes. Let me know in the comments below what you thought, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.